Hey everybody, good morning, good morning. It's about 8:15 in the morning here on the 12th of September. It's Thursday, and I'd like to do a real quick update on Bitcoin in particular, just to take a real quick look and see where things are going and how things are moving. Before I get into all this, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. And as always, this is just my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and kind of get into things here. We've been taking a look at some important moving averages over the last maybe month or so, almost 2 months now. We've been watching the 50-day simple moving average here on Bitcoin, and really things have not changed. Right, so every time we've gone above the 50-day simple moving average, we've failed. I'm going to go ahead and highlight some of these here, but essentially they are outlined by this hump right here. Let me get this guy right here, and then also it happened again over here. Let me just go ahead and correct this. The time and the time that we have spent above the 50 moving average has gotten shorter and shorter as time has gone by. And most recently, we only spent maybe 4 days above this 50-day simple moving average. And each time, as I've outlined here with my red and green arrows, we've made lower highs, right? So we've got yet another lower high right here. So we can go ahead and create a new lower high. Now, what we haven't seen a lower low yet. Now, that's not to say that we're going to see a lower low, but one thing that I have to say is we have some of these very simple indicators that we can use to identify important levels. And right now, in this time, we're really looking at that 50-day simple moving average that I've got outlined here with my green moving average. And I've circled all the different times that Bitcoin has attempted to test that area. And we haven't tested it, we haven't done a back test. Are we going to go lower? Jury is out. But what I will say is there's no conviction either way at this point in time. What I mean by that is we haven't created a new low yet. We haven't created a new high yet. Right, so if we start to create more lows, then I think that does increase the confidence that we're going to start to see, more of a sell-off. But we really haven't seen, conviction in either way. The volume really hasn't been, really high, right? On the daily time frame, the Wave Master is indicating that we're probably going to continue to see some upward movement. But how long is that going to last? It may only last, another 3 or 4 days. It may be over by the weekend, which is, just a couple days away. So, if we can start to get back above this 50-day simple moving average, and really more importantly, what I really need to see the market do is get above some of these highs that have been created that we haven't been able to get back above. If we can start to create new highs, well, then that adds a little conviction that we're going to see a move back to all-time high and likely higher, right? One thing that I see a lot of people talking about is the fact that this could be a 1-2, right? And if that's the case, let's just go ahead and measure that. If this is a 1-2, well, excuse me, wave 3 would be up here at about 83,000, and then wave 5 would be up here at about 111. Now, it's way too early to say that is, even remotely close to what is going to happen. I would say more likely we're going to see a move up here to maybe 70,000, maybe going as high as 73 to 75,000, right? Poke up above that all-time high. We see cycles like this quite often. One thing that we're going to want to watch for is a rejection of all-time high. If we get a rejection of all-time high, then that really kind of takes alt season off the table, which I'm going to talk about Bitcoin dominance as well. It kind of takes alt season off the table, at least for the time being, until, things can settle, right? But we really need to see conviction. We need to see volume, and we're not really seeing enough of that right now. If we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, let's just go ahead and move out to a weekly time frame and just take a look at this, right? I have a window here of October 21st or somewhere thereabouts, right? And that is based off of what I'm going to show you right here. We've got cycles, right? I'm a big cycle guy. I like to look for cycles, watch for cycles. So what I'm going to just briefly discuss here is alt season in 2017 started in March, and that lasted all the way until January 2018, right? So that basically lasted 9 months, 10 months. And then, we were in a large cycle before we created another high where we had another alt season that started in December of 2020. Well, that lasted until May of 2021, but we've got a little bit of a lower low right here, which was in January of 2022. So I can pull this in if I needed to, or I can take this out here, right? So the cycles can shift accordingly. But what's more important is we've got a high here where alt season started. We've got a high here where alt season started. And I've outlined, the next cycle that I've taken an arrow right here to this mid-October area. And we are just kind of making our way up there. And on a weekly time frame, right? Just take a look at this on a weekly time frame. Every single wave is overbought, right? So it's really just a matter of time before wave 5 gets in here, and we're continuing to kind of stay within this this rising wedge that is compressing, and there is going to be a point in time where this rolls over. Now, how long is alt season going to last, and how pronounced is alt season going to last? We don't know. Nobody actually knows. This right here, this may stop right there. It may just do a back test of this dominance area right here, which is at the 200 weekly moving average at about 49%. It may just continue going lower. My projection is that Bitcoin dominance is probably going to go down to about 35, maybe 40%, but somewhere below 40%. I think it's going to go down that low, which that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going to crash. That means Bitcoin is probably just going to hold its value for a little bit while altcoins get that rotation, and then you're going to start to see the cash out. You're going to see a lot of rotation going on, and if you're not familiar with how these cycles work, I encourage you to join our Discord so that you can get my my perspective on a regular basis. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin dominance. I think that we're getting close to the end of this move, so just a couple things from a how do I say this? This isn't investment advice or anything like that. This is just my personal opinion. I'm of the opinion that if you are in this market, you already are acknowledging that there is significant risk in any kind of cryptocurrency, whether it be Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, Cardano, whatever that may be, or maybe it's some of those, those smaller cap altcoins, right? Whatever it may be, you are recognizing automatically that there is significant risk in this market. And if you're making leverage trades, you are also adding risk to an already risk-based market. So I'm saying that just to say that I always keep Bitcoin on my portfolio, and I keep Ethereum in my portfolio. I've got a lot of altcoins, but a large portion of where my funds are sitting at is in Bitcoin and in Ethereum, and I also have a significant portion in Cardano and Tron, right? So I've got these, not to say, hey, go buy, right? Because right now is not a good time to buy Tron, just my opinion. But if Bitcoin dominance doesn't go down, right, that means Bitcoin is going to either hold or increase in value, and which then it's even more more of a reason to keep something like Bitcoin in your portfolio. Nothing wrong with altcoins, nothing wrong with derivatives, nothing wrong with swaps or anything like that, as long as you know what you're doing. But I think it's always good, if you're going to be in a risky market like this, to keep some assets into coins like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, some of those top market cap coins because they're going to hold their value, against market downturns compared to some of those smaller coins. I would like to compare that to, the top market cap companies in the S&P 500. They have been performing better than a lot of the smaller market cap companies that are in the S&P 500. This is very similar to that. This market is getting more mature as time goes by, and so that's something that I would encourage you to consider. Again, I'm not telling you to go and buy anything. I'm not telling you to go and do anything. I'm not telling you to go and rebalance. I'm just telling you to do some research and make that decision for whatever your risk profile is. But my opinion is it's always good to have some kind of large market cap asset in your portfolio for whatever sector you're in. And if you're in the crypto sector, it's as many money managers would say, it's always best to have some of those larger market cap, more stable and more tried and true coins or assets than it is to have the smaller ones. Smaller ones are going to be where your greatest risk to reward is. I mean, it's going to have a higher risk, but it's going to have a much higher reward. Now, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's always going to be risk, but your upside is really going to be capped. Bitcoin, I think, at least in the next 2 years, Bitcoin probably only has like a 2x in front of it right now. So the upside is capped, but you can control your downside a little bit more because, chances are it's not going to go to zero, right? There's always that chance, but I would say the probability is that it's not. Whereas with altcoins and things like that, it's very possible that they can. And I've seen it happen many, many times. So, I guess that's my lecture on risk aversion and positioning and things like that. But, from this dominance perspective, I think we're getting close to a point where we're going to see a fall. But again, we probably still have, a couple more weeks of grind, and I'm really looking at sometime in mid-October before we start to see, what people refer to as the Santa rally, right? We see that kind of stuff, quite often. We saw it here. You can see here in 2021, it started here in mid-October, and it lasted until January 10th, right? So again, that same cycle. What do we have here? We had January 8th. What do we have here? We had January 10th, right? So is this going to just continue and go to January of 2025? I mean, that could be. It could very well be. This could happen very, very fast. You can see how steep these alt seasons were, and so this could happen very, very quickly, right? We don't know how quick things are going to happen. But, Santa rally, it would not surprise me one bit. I don't know how pronounced it's going to be. I don't know how big it's going to be. It may not even happen. It's all about probabilities and how you do your calculations on, when you take positions and how you position yourself. So, I would just caution you, be very careful, be very cautious, and, live to trade another day. Don't gamble all of your, your hard-earned capital away. Be very careful about how you do these things. And, again, I should just be one voice of many different voices that you listen to, and you should take, all advice and weigh it yourself and make that determination on what you believe is going to be best for your situation. All right, that's what I've got right now. Again, for Bitcoin, we're looking at that 50-day simple moving average, get above that, and really make a new local high. Once we can start to break that, let me go back over here real quick. Once we can break the cycle, then we can start to talk about moving to all-time high, right? When I say break the cycle, really what I'm talking about here, we made a lower high. If we can make a higher low and then make a higher high, that's breaking the cycle. Because so far, it's been low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. If we can create a higher low and then a higher high, that cycle has broken. Get above that 50 simple moving average, get above this high right here at about 65,100, then we can start to see a more pronounced move, and maybe we'll start to see some volume behind the move. Right? Just because we don't have any volume here doesn't mean that we won't have volume in the future. It just means that market participants are waiting for something big to happen, and breaking this cycle is going to be something big. It's not going to be as simple as just breaking a moving average. It's going to be breaking a moving average. It's going to be breaking a cycle, and then, of course, we have seasonality on top of that. So that's what I've got on Bitcoin. Right now, no real, pronounced conviction in the market at the moment, so there's not a whole lot to do, but just kind of sit on your hands and wait, especially if you are a leverage junkie. So that's all I've got right now. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share. If you need access to our Discord, you can find all that information on BitDoctor.org, including how to get access to my WaveMaster indicator that I spent years building and I use every single day in almost all of my trading. And last but not least, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and a good evening. Have a great day, everyone.